Hey, what's up? It's Jharrel Jerome, and I'm in studio with The Hollywood Reporter.
It's so nice to see you again.
Yes.
We met briefly at the Oprah Winfrey event for When They See Us, so it's nice to see you again. I have to tell you, not much has happened in my life since that day. It's been business as
Nothing
usual.
at all?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
But the same cannot be said for you.
Yeah.
Tell me what your life has been like these past few weeks.
Oh, man. I couldn't. I really couldn't. I haven't grasped the idea or the past few weeks. I feel like I've been dreaming. I felt like that night at Oprah, I fell asleep on the couch and I just didn't wake up, you know? But it's been a blessing. It's been a beautiful ride. It feels like a really incredible accomplishment more than anything. But before the nominations came out, I already felt like the work that needed to be done was done for those men. Corey Wise himself came up to me and said, "You did it." You know, simple words, but you did it. And that affirmation right there was the nomination, if anything. So to have the nomination as well, on top of that feeling, it's just, I'm ecstatic, and I'm so proud to be a part of this project, and for my first major recognition to be this project and for this role. That means the world to me.
And so take me back to the day you were nominated for an Emmy for your role in this, and When They See Us. Where were you? How did you get the news?
So I was in New York City, which is where I'm from, so I got to be back in my city, but I was in a restaurant. I was with my manager, and I was with some friends from high school who I've known for a very long time, and my mom was coming out of work in an Uber. She was like leaving work early, like, screw this, I'm coming to see you if, you know, if it happens or not. So she was in a car on the way over, and I had my phone out, and I was watching it live, and I put it up on the thing. Just because,
wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know those kind of shows happen where you had a show for the Emmy nominations. So I was like, okay, I'll watch it, and we watched it. And it was funny because I was terrified. I was just terrified. It was a weird feeling to have. The moment before is just this, your heart is pounding, you know you've been in conversations, you know you've been in the talks, and you just don't know what's going to happen. So I remember my legs shaking so bad, to the point where I was like, this looks weird in this restaurant. I look so scared. And my manager was trying to calm me down. Perry was like, she said, relax, it's okay. Your category won't be set first. It'll probably be set in the middle of the show so we can breathe, just drink your water, everything's okay. My category was the very first category to be spoken. Like, they right off the bat started with just lead actor in a miniseries, and so I was like, this doesn't know why, and yeah, they went through the names, and I believe my name was the fourth or fifth name said, so it's like, names of everyone I'm inspired by are being said, and I'm like, this is crazy, and they said my name, and freaked out.
Take me back to the beginning of joining this project. I remember the night with Oprah and Ava on stage, where the subject of your beard came up a lot, and how it almost sort of ruined your chances for this. So tell me about how the audition came to you and how your beard screwed it up.
Almost screwed it up.
Almost screwed it up.
The story is, I auditioned for young Corey. That was what was the plan, and the goal was to try to book young Corey, not old, nothing about that, just that part. So I auditioned for it via self-tape because I was living down south working on a project, and I taped it with the beard. So Ava appreciated the tape, she liked it, but her one note was, can you send it back without a beard? And so we tried to get the production that I was working on to clear it and make that happen, but we couldn't, just being tied into the script, being in the middle of the season. And so for 4 months, at least 4 months, I was just freaking out every day. Just my team, they were checking in with the casting department and making sure they hadn't casted Corey. And for months, she hadn't casted Corey. It was weird how that aligned. She had been casting every other part was being taken, and then Corey was still empty. And so when I wrapped the show, my team called Ava and made sure, like, even if she was in Beijing or Russia or wherever she was, I was going to fly over there, shaving my beard on the flight and going to this meeting with Ava. And Ava accepted the meeting. She said, yeah, I'll see him. So she actually had been in New York, so it was perfect timing. I came from Charleston to New York, and I shaved, and I went in to speak with her, and she looked at me like she saw a ghost. She was like, "Well, who are you? What is this?" And then she goes, how old are you? Because I thought you were 30 years old. At the time, I was 20. So I said, I'm 20. And she was like, wow, okay, read the part. And so I did the young Corey sides, and then she goes, great, now read these. And it was the older Corey sides, which threw me for a loop because I just shaved my beard, and now I'm about to read the older Corey sides for you. But I guess she had this vision when I walked in, and yeah, the next day she ended up calling me and said, it's really impressive how you can look super young without the beard, but also look very old with the beard. And so I want to challenge you and put you to the test and see if you can portray him at both ages.
You said that once you found his voice is when it happened for you. Tell me more about that process of being able to lock that in and sort of where you went as an actor to find out who Corey Wise was.
Yeah, absolutely. It was incredibly difficult. The most challenging role I've taken on, and probably the most challenging just experience I've put myself through or allowed myself to go through. It was a multi-step process. You know, it was like one day I'm working on this side of him, one day I'm working on this side of him, and it was a lot of research. It was a lot of watching footage over and over. And then I worked with a vocal coach for about a month and a half just on dialect, on how to adopt the Harlem speech. And Corey's so unique, you know. If you watch that Oprah special, you'll see how unique he is. No one is like him at all. And so I think that in order to have fully embodied Corey, the only thing that was right and fair was to capture that voice. And so, like you said, once I found that voice, that's where I felt extremely comfortable. It almost led into the body. It's almost like it started with the voice, and then it almost naturally went into how he moved and how he acted and how he was as a person.
And at what point did you meet him?
Very early on. We met at the table read. So Ava brought the men out to the table read, to the cast reading of episodes 1 and 2. So I got to meet him. The first time I read Corey Wise's words out loud or in front of anybody, he was right there.
Oh, wow. No pressure.
No pressure at all. And it was the first time I had met him, too. And we had spoken briefly before the read, but we didn't get to know each other. So I still didn't know the type of man he was. I didn't know the type of person he was. So I was so scared. I was reading these lines, and I was like, what if I'm not doing it right? What if I sound weird? What if I'm forcing it? Or what if he's offended by how I'm speaking? So all of that tied into that reading. But the second we finished, he was wiping tears off of his face.
Oh, wow.
And he took the chain off of his neck and he put it on mine, and he says, you're the king now. You're Corey Wise.
Well, what's amazing about your relationship and hearing about that is because for many people today who maybe didn't know the story back then or had forgotten, because people have short-term memory sometimes, is that you are the reason that they know what he went through. But what was the most difficult of those scenes in prison and the physicality that you had to go through and just the fighting in solitary? What was the hardest day on set?
That's a good question, because there's so many difficult days. There were so many days where I felt as though it would be hard to get out of this day. If I'm trying to like go into my head now and think about a day, it'd be that assault that Corey got into with the 8 men, where he was trapped inside of his cell and he was being stabbed and assaulted. That day was extremely painful and emotionally taxing because I think, I didn't count, but maybe 11, 12 takes of that scene. And I yelled at the top of my lungs each take for Corey, you know. I couldn't imagine him yelling any less. And so I made sure that every time Ava said action, that I gave all that pain and all that fear that he must have been through. And when you do it over and over, you start to get used to yelling, and you start to get used to, even though it's, you know, it's stage combat and it's not real, you still get used to, you know, big men kind of just putting pressure to your body, and you're yelling and you're being pressed against the bed, and it's all magic and it's all film magic, and we're all just putting in a performance, but it leaves, you know, it leaves you, and you still hear the screams. I can still feel the metal of the bed, and like being afraid that my head might hit it and things like that, but I can't even imagine what Corey was afraid of, you know. That was by far one of the hardest days. Any scenes I shared with Niecy Nash was extremely difficult. The idea of my mom going through what Niecy's character went through is heartbreaking to me, and it made it very real, especially Niecy's performance was so, I don't know, so motherly and so loving, but also so painful and so much tension, and it's like I never want this with me and my mom, so those scenes were hard. But I'll tell you this, I think my hardest scene, or the hardest thing to get into was young Corey, was playing Corey outside of any prison or outside of any precinct, because we don't know Corey as that. You know, when you look up videos of young Corey or Corey at 16, you won't see him eating pizza. You won't see him hanging out with his friends, riding a skateboard. You'll see him, you know, behind a desk being interrogated by police. You'll see him in a mugshot. And I couldn't allow those pictures and that version of Corey to, you know, fuel my young Corey performance, because that's not who he was. You know, he was a whole different person. And so I had a hard time doing the scenes with Lisa and the scenes in the park where I'm just having a good time, just knowing that, you know, in about 5 hours he's going to go to that park and everything's going to change for him. How do I smile and make jokes at the chicken shop, you know, when I know that Corey just wishes he could have stayed in Kennedy with Lisa the whole time.
Talk to me about Ava as a leader on this set and what your relationship was like with her now.
Yeah, it's the greatest word to describe Ava, a leader at its best. I think the best directors are the directors that know exactly what they want, know exactly how to get it, but allow the people they are working with to breathe and have space to create on their own as well. And so I think Ava trusted me and the other actors as well with the research of our characters. She wrote the script, yes, but she understood that I spent a lot of time learning who Corey Wise was. So rather than her giving me exactly what to do and saying, no, this has to be that has to be that, she allowed me to play, and there was a lot of moments where she said, you know Corey way better than I do. How would Corey, you know, respond to this? Or how do you think Corey would react to this?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's look back now a little bit. I mean, we've been doing that a lot already, but look back to just your resume, right? So you started Moonlight, which was won the Oscar for Best Picture, and then now this, which has, you know, 12 Emmy nominations, including one for you for lead actor. Where do you go from here? I mean, what scripts are coming your way? What do you want to do next?
I stop here. I say, I'm good, moving on. No, to me, the last thing I want is this nomination to feel like it's the button. It's the, yeah, good, you did it. You know, I haven't done nearly half of the things that I hope to accomplish as an actor, as an artist. So my goal in life is to continue to work on projects that really speak. I do want to do comedy, though. I want to make a couple jokes here and there. So I would love to just work on anything, really, that means something to me in the end. Art is medicine. I think art is what imitates life. You know, art is the imitation of life, and I think we need art. You know, I think TV, especially TV, just what's happening with TV and all these stories that are coming out, it's what we need. So I want to focus on those kind of projects, the ones that we need.
Comedy's medicine, too. Do you have any jokes before we go?
Oh, God, you can't
No.
put me on the spot. No, I don't.
Okay.
But somebody will write it.
Somebody will write it.
And then I'll try to say it.
Get it to him.
Yeah.
And so we'll make that happen. Anyway, we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
I'm still just racking my brain trying to think of something funny to say, but there's nothing
Me
funny
too.
about it. You know what? Check out the Emmys coming up where you can see this guy. Maybe we'll make some jokes on the red carpet there. Do you know what you're wearing yet?
No, I don't. But my mom is looking real hard on what she's wearing. So she has like 7 dresses lined up. She's ready.
Good.
But I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. You got some time. Anyway, Thank you guys for tuning in today, and be sure to check out When They See Us, now airing on Netflix. And for everything, news and reviews, check out thr.com.